Today, I'm putting myself to the test by comparing my performance in practice versus an actual match. Let's find out who's really better. When it comes to athletes, there's an ongoing debate about what's more beneficial, practice or match play. And today, we're going to dive into this topic and explore which one truly makes a difference. Whether you're a professional athlete or just someone who loves to play sports, this question matters because it can make or break your performance. You've probably heard it said that athletes perform differently in practice compared to matches. And it makes you wonder, are they really giving it their all during practice, or are they holding back? Maybe they're just not as focused, or perhaps they're experimenting with new techniques that don't quite translate to the big game. Whatever the reason, it begs the question, are athletes really preparing themselves properly for the real deal? I mean, think about it, in practice, there's no real pressure, no real stakes. You can try new things, make mistakes, and learn from them without any real consequences. It's like a safety net, where you can just focus on improving your skills without worrying about winning or losing. But in a match, it's a different story altogether. The pressure is on, the crowd is watching, and every move you make counts. Plus, the intensity of the game is unlike anything you can replicate in practice. The adrenaline rush, the competitive drive, the sheer will to win, it all comes together to create an environment that's hard to replicate in a practice setting. And let's not forget about the mental aspect. In a match, you're not just fighting against your opponent, you're fighting against your own doubts and fears. When you think about it, it's no wonder athletes perform differently in practice versus matches. The two scenarios are like apples and oranges. They might look similar on the surface, but they're fundamentally different. So, the question remains, are athletes really preparing themselves for the real deal, or are they just going through the motions in practice? One of the key factors that contribute to this performance difference is the mental preparedness of the athlete. In practice, you can afford to make mistakes, but in a match, one mistake can cost you the game. That kind of pressure can affect your mindset, making you more cautious, more hesitant, and less confident. It's like the stakes are higher, and that alone can change the way you play the game. Another factor is the competition itself. In practice, you're often playing against teammates or opponents who are around the same level as you. But in a match, you're facing off against the best of the best, athletes who are just as skilled, just as determined, and just as hungry for victory. That kind of competition pushes you to be your best, to dig deep and find that extra gear. Professional athletes and coaches often have surprising insights into this debate. For instance, some coaches believe that practice is where you build your skills, but matches are where you build your character. It's one thing to have the technical ability, but it's another thing entirely to have the mental toughness to back it up. In an interview, one professional athlete revealed that they often hold back in practice, saving their energy and focus for the actual match. They believed that if they gave it their all in practice, they wouldn't have anything left for the game. It's an interesting perspective, and one that raises questions about how athletes approach practice versus matches. Another athlete shared that they use practice as an opportunity to experiment with new techniques and strategies, knowing that they can refine them in the heat of competition. It's like they're using practice as a testing ground, a place to try new things and see what works. When you look at it, both practice and matches are essential to an athlete's development. Practice is where you build your skills, your confidence, and your endurance. Matches are where you test those skills, push yourself to the limit, and discover what you're really capable of. So, in the end, it's not a question of which one is better, it's about striking a balance between the two. Thanks for joining me on this exploration of athletes' practice versus match play. If you're an athlete or just someone who loves sports, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this topic. Share your opinions in the comments below. And if you're new here, consider subscribing for more videos on sports training and performance.